Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, it wasn't that much of an upset to miss out on only one round, but we should be getting up and running just a couple seconds more. But in case we missed out on anything, it was only one round, and it was a win of 1v4, not entirely 1v4, but it was a 4K clutch by Trix, the entry fragger on the side of RCTIC. So it was really unfortunate that we couldn't broadcast over that, but I'm pretty sure we're almost ready to get back into the actual game itself, so at least I was somewhat correct about the 4-2 split being pretty common.
I think we still have to wait 3 minutes because we're doing the whole. We gotta wait 3 minutes because the observer's putting on a delay now, so we gotta at least talk for the next 3 minutes. But yeah, the way our Brawley observer Cairo put it in our chat was a 4-2 in the favor of TLR. Tricky on a tear. 1v1. Tricky wins. Tricky fragged hard that round. Think he got a 4K. So an amazing round, like I said, like you said. Sad we missed it, but it's all in the past now. Let's look at the future. We got Arctic's defending half. Oh, what do you expect? What do you see? Looking at your first 6 rounds of Arctic, well, how do you see their defensive half?
We could go into overtime. This is a really common way to end off the first half on Oregon 4-2. And with the fact that Arctic has been finding the entry almost every, if not every single time, I believe you mentioned that yourself, Yannick, that they might be able to do a really good job on, for example, a very extensive roam, which can happen all the time on Oregon. It's up for the team to decide that factor. If they are actually successful on those deep roams, then they could be such a huge nuisance against the last resort, and that could end up guaranteeing them so many round wins to bring it back to an overtime, or maybe even a 7-5 victory if they are just on a tear on one of the more difficult to defend bomb sites like Kitchen and Dining or Kitchen and Meeting, whichever one you prefer.
Indeed, I heard you prefer dining, and maybe we'll go there. Maybe Arctic prefers it too. I mean, they're a Nordic team. I don't know. I don't know what they eat up there. Fish, I reckon. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, yeah, no, it's gonna be an amazing half for sure. I do expect a lot of good things coming in from Arctic. They've shown that they're definitely up to do it. I'm not sure if your whole like segment about Tricky and how he's been doing really well. He's been like, I'm just gonna copy what you said, and all credits goes to fellow here. But Tricky has been doing his work amazingly, getting those opening kills, getting those opening frags. It's just the ending that just is not working in their favor, and I think it's more to do with TLR than Arctic.
Definitely. I think he has over double digits now. We'll obviously find that out when we get into the game. And we're not going to have to wait that much longer. A couple more seconds and we'll be brought right on in. But I think he's around 11 kills, give or take. So he did a perfect job on the first half. Almost every round he found the entry frag. If not, then it was, I believe, NW on the Maverick. And then it was Rage who was on the Zofia, so the other entry fragger as well. So he's been doing his job time and time again without a shadow of a doubt. If he just does that on a Jaeger roll or an extensive roam like a Vigil or a Mozzie, which you will see quite often on Oregon when you are doing those extensive roams, then they shouldn't have a problem picking up the slack that they had on the first half.
Indeed, as we are going to be moving back into the game, it seems. Yes, round number 7. Laundry and Supply Room is going to be Arctic's first sight, and yet again, that Wamai coming out. And it seems a very, very standard extend into blue by NW.
Completely agree. They're also opting to go for the double denial combination of Jaeger Wamai. I mean, they both had Wamai mains on both sides. That was confirmed, even though they didn't have real ratings yet. But it's only a minor setback. It's really not that big of a deal. It's actually quite nice to even have those kind of rating systems. You don't get that kind of production all the time. So I'm very thankful of that, even though we have had some minor setbacks. But that's not in any of our hands. But I was somewhat correct right off the bat. We see Tricky going on at least a drone hunt for the roam. He might stick up there. Might be a little bit of a problem, though, because he's already been spotted out so early on, so maybe he'll transition somewhere else, maybe inside of Kitchen, or the opposite side of the map near Small Tower, really anywhere he ever so pleases to. Malusi is such a deadly operator in any position you put her in, and not just because of her gadgets. Her MP5 that I mentioned earlier, complete laser beam. It's 0 recoil, and it's very fast compared to most weapons, so you can just click on heads pretty easily for the most part, and especially since Tricky has such gifted mechanical aim, it should not be a problem with him at all on this 7th round.
Indeed, TL are going to start droning out T1 as you still see two defenders there sitting on the stairs having a friendly conversation about the weather. As we are going to be moving into the round now, they should probably start stopping to do that and start playing the game. Monks is moving up in T2 though, has the C4 ready, but there's nobody at that window to hit just yet. He does put it back in his back pocket and decides to use it maybe later on in the round. But a very, very aggressive hold here of Tower on the side of RCTIC.
Last Resort have not made their way inside the building until now. It's going to be panicky, but Tricky will slow down the push for a moment longer. Hazard will find a refrag with that fragmentation grenade, forcing RCTIC to retreat slightly, but the damage has most certainly already been done. That's your Nomad player off the board, and there goes your flank watch 90% for this round. That's a huge pick on the side of RCTIC, and now they have fully retreated back into sight. They're holding it down quite successfully, and the first half is coming to fruition. This is not the worst defensive hold so far for RCTIC, as they have still been denying this push coming out in towards Blue Bunker, considering all issues.
Indeed, 1 minute at least has been wasted by that roam into Tower. They've all fallen back except for the one that died. But Kusik is going to go into Panicky. See if Oculus, let's trade Kusik back on a round. We're back on a 3v3 now. 1 minute 25 remaining. Extend has been decides to leave as Tricky finds another one into Hazard. Hazard. Need to really start looking into that. Why am I doing that? But 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining as TLR is still droning into the site. Tricky is still roaming though. He's still in meeting. Time is running low for TLR, and with the man disadvantage, it's going to be a hard push to make. We're all going to see how that's all going to happen in the next minute. So take it away, fellow.
Gladly, thank you very much. But 2-on-3, like you mentioned, we're seeing that drone work come into play by the Last Resort. They want to make sure just exactly where everyone is currently positioned. Smoke caught on the rotate, but won't be punished. That can now allow him to play more effectively with those toxic babes. If he had them in his back pocket, that's not going to be the case. He's used all three of them already, but it might not matter simply because the manpower is still strongly in the favor of RCTIC. Oculus most likely going to have to go for that default plant because they're already on such little HP. He'll get a refrag, all things considered, on the Rage, making things a 2-on-3, now a 2-on-1, as Courage just wide swings out onto NW, finishing him off, and now it's a 1v2 all up to Tricky. He'll light one up across the ways, a 3k now for Tricky, but Oculus, brave enough, will stick the plant, and this is a little bit more favorable for the lone ace player. Tricky still has plenty of mind games to play off of, going for a quick pre-fire. Doesn't know exactly where Oculus is, but he'll win simply based off of the health advantage. He'll go for the toxic teabag just to show his dominance against the opposition, and he has more than enough time to defuse a spectacular 4K clutch for RCTIC. And they'll win their 7th round, just as I predicted, asserting their dominance even more so on the defensive side.
Tricky with the quad kill, tallying up the kills. He's on 15 kills now in this match. We're only at round number 8. Round number 8 still needs to happen. He has a chance to double up his kill count right now. He still has a lot of game to go, and he's been putting the rest of his team inside his backpack, and he's carrying them, at least kills-wise, these rounds. A very, very tense round there at the end as Ace on the Oculus of Ace at the end there in the 1v1 situation, as you said, just losing it out based on HP. But we gotta talk about how Courage got that double inside of Laundry. So they swung it back as a bit of a back and forth round, but in the end, RCTIC knew how to secure it, and that's good for them as they're now 3-4, only one round in the deficit now. So it's a lot more comfortable for them now. They have more breathing room.
I was just about to mention that quote. That past round where Courage did find the 2K, it allowed the Last Resort to get a quick breath of fresh air, but it was sucked right out of their lungs almost instantaneously by RCTIC because he found the 4K and just clapped back almost immediately. That was a huge round win for RCTIC. They're slowly removing that round advantage from the hands of Last Resort, taking it away from them like stealing candy from a baby. It's almost that easy. But now they're going to have to go to Kitchen and Meeting. A little bit of a wild card pick. I'm surprised that RCTIC did not want to go up above to Kids in Dorms, but their lineup is so utility heavy. There's a lot of active utility on the board as well with NW on the smoke. This is a great lineup that's very reminiscent of that 20 to 30 second meta, and it is extended out so far. This could waste a ton of time on the side of Last Resort if they opt to push from that specific direction, which for the most part will not be the case. They're going from the backside of Big Tower to possibly get open that meeting wall for maybe an A side plant.
There's absolutely no one in meeting from the side of RCTIC. It's all being held from above as we see Kusik, and that is going to be NW together with Monks. 3 people upstairs now as Hazard is going to start to open up this this attic wall to ensure them a way into the attic. And getting control of the top floor is very, very essential in this map. That's the only way you can plant a meeting without getting shot. But Kusik could get a kill here if he's patient. There's someone on the drone sitting in T2. Who is that going to be? That's going to be K5. But he gets away with his life as Kusik is going to be looking away. So all in all, still 5 people alive on both sides. 1 minute 30 seconds remaining. No early kills, but the bullet hole coming in from Hazard not working out just yet.
The lack of proper reaction time, that's going to force Hazard to pay the price by not picking up a necessary frag for the Last Resort. They're going to have to approach this head on in an absolute bloodbath leading in towards Attic unless they rotate around, but that's such a huge part of the map to not consider. That would be a huge mistake for Last Resort not to approach from this direction. You hear some utility being placed off in the background, and Oculus, he's just going for the plant behind table. It's being covered perfectly as K5 picks up 1 onto Tricky. There goes your top fragger, and the plant now being confirmed at a 5-on-3. The tables have definitely been turned in the favor of Last Resort as RCTIC, in a last-ditch attempt, will try to deny this win from RCTIC. It's a 4v2 now, though, or pardon, Last Resort, as it's a 3K for K5, and it's all up to Rage in a 1v4. We've seen a quad clutch come out before on the side of Tricky, but we haven't seen this from Rage just yet, who's currently going 1-7, and he is just a rock in a hard space, and that rock will be demolished by the bulldozer of K5. He'll pick up another frag for himself with an ARX, and a fantastic take on the side of the Last Resort.
The Last Resort winning meeting puts them back at the 2-round advantage that we were at the split, putting them in a 3-on-5 situation. One more round for them means match point, but we're not there just yet. Let's touch upon this round and see where RCTIC failed to hold that site. If I have to give my 2 cents, I think it's the fact that RCTIC had nobody in meeting. TLR saw that, and they were basically... their whole strategy was to hold meeting from above. TLR pushed them away by getting those Maverick holes up in the attic breach, and they knew that, and they just went for the plan, and Oculus was just totally uncontested. The smoke canisters came in late, came in within the last second of him planting, and I think that's all she wrote, as at that point the attackers become defenders and vice versa, and it was just a sweep from TLR.
Yeah, Rainbow Six, it's a game of complete and utter chaos. You have to expect anything and everything, and RCTIC did not expect Last Resort to just completely flip on their own backsides and just go for a plant. They were expecting the top-down clear, which RCTIC themselves didn't even do when attacking Kitchen and Meeting, which was a site that they ended up winning, so you really should have expected that coming, but that won't be the case. The Last Resort, they'll still have somewhat of an advantage against RCTIC, 2 rounds above them, but that could obviously be changed up as we're going the second best, if not the best, considered by some bomb site, which is going to be Kids Dormitory and regular dormitory. And the Last Resort, they're going for a pretty basic push, just big tower, and then that other closet push as well to pincer the opponents of RCTIC. It's all basically the exact same stuff over and over again when on attacking maps like Oregon and Cafe, which are so defender favorited. There is really no room for variety on the side of the Last Resort.
First 30 seconds have been wasted, or we're past that now, and in round number 9. TLR looking to get that match point, and W is not going to give it to them that easily, as that's your Maverick off the board. And did he get that breach open? He's going to have to see. I don't think he did.
He didn't.
So either the ace is going to have to swing all the way around to Attic to get that open, or we're going to see another strategy pulling out of the bag. But K5 gets a kill onto Kusik, and that's the refrag coming in. And we're all level now, 4v4, as the timer is slowly ticking down, and map control is being gained by the last resort.
This is all about active utility, though. You mentioned it, the Maverick got shut down, and Jaeger's already had his gadgets deployed. Hazard just has to sit bench now for a minute and a half longer. This is a huge refrag by RCTIC, and now they only have to worry about one way for the attackers to come from, and that's currently Closet, and they're doing a great job of denying it. Tricky will find one on a Courage, now a 4-on-3. You're going to see that funnel come into effect through Deer side as Oculus and K5 are just sitting ducks on the eastern side of the map. Oculus will go around now, trying to work his way in from the Closet area, and Panicky has positioned himself near the big window. He'll stun out the player near Kids. He'll try to deal some damage with his explosive rounds, but that won't be the case. The wide swing, though, will do the trick just right, as Rage will get a refrag onto Oculus right as Panicky did shut down the lone smoke player of NW. If Panicky had the diffuser, this could be a plant quite easily, but that will not be the case. K5 has to frag out. He'll do just that, finishing off Rage, now in a 2-on-2, but this is still a very winnable round for RCTIC if they play their cards just right. Monks will do just that as he finishes off Panicky, now in a 1v1 as K5 gets the immediate refrag and has the diffuser back in his hands, but it's most likely that he will go for the kill onto Tricky, who's currently fragging out of his mind. 16-5. We're down to about 15 seconds, and the peak comes out by Tricky with the MP5 at hand. He'll win the 1v1 confrontation, proving himself to be the best right now on the side of RCTIC, as it will be their 4th round win going into the 10th one.
Oh my, Tricky is going absolutely huge this game. We just got word from one of our co-casters that the record on ECS is 21 kills, and Tricky is right on track to absolutely decimate that. And with the way the rounds are going, overtime is very much on the board. We're 5-4 right now. If you see overtime, Tricky might take that record and throw it in the bin and put his own name up there. But well, let's see how that's all going to work out. We're now heading back down to Laundry Supplier Room. A game where, or sorry, a round where Tricky got a quad kill in that 1v1 clutch situation, or 2v1 clutch situation against Oculus with the ace downstairs. So we'll see if it's going to be a repeat of that, or if it's going to be a totally different round.
No clue. Obviously, both sides, they're now on the different approach, as now RCTIC is on the defensive side, Last Resort now attacking, so it could be a little different, but one thing that has not changed is Tricky just outgunning everybody on the side of Last Resort. He even finished off K5, who I believe now has around 10 to 11, or 11 to 12 kills, give or take. He is popping off left, right, and center, and luckily Tricky has been able to counteract him almost every single time. But heading into Laundry and Supply, the best site so far, that extension into Blue Bunker being not a necessity, but it's been a staple of this matchup on Oregon so far, as we'll see it go into effect once more. And Last Resort walking right on into it. They could always, of course, reapproach from a different angle, maybe heading their way in towards Freezer, but they'd rather just go at what they know best, and that's to just approach head-on inside of that Blue Bunker area, and then to also come around the corner in towards that Big Terror area where Monks is sitting quite comfortably with a Nitro Cell in his back pocket.
Yeah, same like last round. He wants to throw it onto that window, but there just doesn't get the space to do it. It gets thrown down, and he wisely just gets off of that position. Probably the smartest thing to do, but Oculus is tagging Kusik through the wall, and he's down to half HP, but so is Oculus. He's got some tags as well. So a bit of HP drop for both teams, but Panicky has lost 75, almost 75% of his HP as well. And Courage is losing his HP too. They're all losing HP. Most of TLR is now tagged and have lost some semblance of HP, as Tricky wants to see if he can break that record that we were talking about just earlier on. We're going to see now if he's going to drop back. He's going to fall back just a bit. He's not going to play it too aggressively. He's having an absolutely amazing game. He doesn't want to throw that out of the window right now. He wants his team to win. It's all about the team game. Monks finds one to Courage, and that's your entry frag off the board. And also the backstairs pressure is now gone on the side of TLR.
Monks is doing a great job of denying this push, and that's going to force Last Resort to only have one way to come into the map itself. That's through Blue Bunker. We did see a refrag come out by Oculus onto the player near Barrel Doorway, but it doesn't matter because they're still just stuck outside of the map itself. Rage Viper laying down the hail of bullets, and the Toxic Babes coming out as well, the icing on top of the cake. As we're down to that last minute, things are looking quite hectic for the Last Resort. It's just again gonna come down to these gunfights, and so far Monks is not loosening that grip from above. He'll find a second for himself, now a 4-on-3, and things are looking phenomenal for RCTIC as they're still denying the push coming out from the Last Resort. You've got to rotate around. At least Panicky is trying to attempt that as he gets droned out by Hazard, but Monks is still in a perfect position, but he's caught on the reload. He will in fact be refragged after such a long time of wait, but there's still one more ace up the sleeves of RCTIC, and that's Tricky from above as he shuts down Hazard. Now a 3-on-1 as Panicky blows himself up. What are you doing, Panicky? And now it's a 1v3 all up to Oculus, and he only has 15 seconds to work with. He's got to go for the kills, and the cross peak is far too strong. NW will finally land the last blow onto NW, or the other way around. My mistake for repeating her name twice in a row, but a phenomenal win once more by RCTIC as they even things up 5-5.
We're in for a barn burner of a map right now. Yeah.
It was on.
We're in for a barn burner of a match. We're all back and squared up. The next team to win a round is going to be on match point, and that's just where it's all going to begin. Tricky on 18 kills. He's inching his way there. He's inching his way towards that 21 mark, something that I'm going to be really impressed if he gets to break that. But Tricky on the flank, Tricky on that hatch was absolutely amazing. Just getting that person that was already in sight on default plant, forced them off he just killed them straight up, and Panicky taking his own life with that impact of impact grenade of Sophia. That's just unfortunate, to be honest, on the side of TLR. And we're heading back now towards meeting and kitchen.
The Last Resort needed every helping hand they can get, and they just slapped the hand that was feeding them. Or bit it, if you want to go from the direct quote. But, like you mentioned, meeting and kitchen now being played. This is, again, not a favorable site for RCTIC. However, they could still end up defending this quite well if they learn from their previous mistakes, which was just to not defend one direct approach from the Last Resort, because they just ended up rotating completely and going for a plant which ended up favoring them quite heavily. So they're going to have to worry about that first and foremost, but if they keep fragging out, especially for Tricky, because he's been getting huge entries along with Monks as well on that mute operator, they could still be sitting pretty and end up bringing this back around to 6-5 match point, bringing us one round away from either overtime or from a victory in the hands of RCTIC. If they win this, of course, that could obviously be on the opposing side. Last Resort could win this if they just have history repeat itself, a little bit of deja vu, but we're going to have to wait and see, as the round is still being played out as I'm currently communicating.
NW is actively playing in attic. He's holding a vertical angle from below, so if anybody does dare to walk through that attic breach, it's going to meet his painful demise from that little peek hole through the floor. Hazard is going to start working away at the wall as he is going to see if he can find that mute jammer, as Monks is going to get tagged, not quite sure from where just yet. And W is pinging to his teammates that they're breaching into attic. Monks now needs to be wary that these players can just funnel in through that hole and push him out of his position. He has 2 ADS to defend himself from any kind of projectiles, and he has a lot of rotation. Excuse me, let me just rephrase that. A lot of rotation capabilities and rotation availabilities to maybe gate his way out of there. Flash going to be thrown in, going to get eaten up by one of those ADSs, as I have mentioned before. Monks is going to choose to hold this strong, and he wants to kill those players in attic if he wants to actually hold this just right now. The drone coming in from Oculus, you're going to see if you can gather just a little bit more information on the side of RCTIC. But the adaptation coming in is that NW is in meeting right now, not allowing the direct plant from TLR.
It's a minute on the clock, and no action has gone down. It's a 5-on-5. It's going to be a massacre on the bomb site. NW will slow down the push for a little while longer, putting a cap on that bottle of a problem as he uses Toxic Babe to just slowly hinder that push coming into effect. Monk's getting lit up from above for when it was most likely some type of grenade. Courage walks right into sight and gets bewildered by the Toxic Babe. It doesn't matter though, as he picks up the kill regardless onto NW. The man count slowly favoring the last resort, but there is still one player of Kusik defending this plant. Panicky will pick up one onto Kusik, and that's complete coverage of the site in the favor of last resort. They can get the plant down now, and they only have to worry about one player of Tricky on the flank. He'll try to find one in compensation, but it won't happen. It'll be a flawless round for last resort as they mop the floor against RCTIC's defensive hold on Kitchen and Meeting for a second time in a row now.
What a play coming in from TLR. RCTIC adapted themselves, but TLR was like, nah, screw that. We're going in anyway. Nah. We're going to send our Ash in there, and we're just going to kill that smoke. He's bothering us. We can't go into sight. Well, what's the easiest way to fix that? Just killing him. Just pushing in. That was the Ash of Courage, just doing, for TLR at least, God's work there, killing the smoke. And then again, after that, it was a Zofia of Panicky getting, I think that was a double, maybe a triple kill in sight. Just killing off one by one, killing off all the defenders on the side of RCTIC, and then it was all just up to Tricky. He has a lot of kills on his name, but he couldn't find 5 more, and that's a really tough situation to be in. It's a situation you don't want to be in. Nobody expects you to win that, so, but still, it was all put up to the task of Tricky, and he tried, but the flawless round coming in from TLR meant no loss of life on their side. A very, very good push from the side of TLR.
Agreed, and right now, looking at the round history, I don't know if you mentioned it or if it was Grism or someone else. I probably butchered his name. I'm so sorry, man, but I'm horrible with names. However, someone in the Discord chat mentioned it before we went on to the live stream. It's going to be ride or die right now. RCTIC, they need to win this round if they want to have a chance at winning map number 1, or they're going to have to give it away to the last resort. It's going to be either or of the option. There's no option C in this A to B question. It's either they win or they lose and then have to go to map number 2 and reconsider their previous mistakes. And for the most part, this looks to be about the same lineup that we saw when RCTIC first defended this top floor objective room of kids in dormitory. I don't think they had the Maestro pick at hand, but it's a very vital operator. He can deny so many different things with those evil eyes, and that all that is just a menace in close quarters gun confrontations. And now that I remember it, it was the Goyo that was picked off, if anyone was actually wondering, but it's still a great operator nonetheless. Courage almost finds one onto Tricky. He is playing so close to that classroom window, a dangerous game of cat and mouse, but just like in all Tom and Jerry films, he'll end up retreating into his little mouse hole on that deep roam still.
Hazard, making his way over into Attic, has been starting to do work on this wall. He's making short work of it as his Maverick Blowtorch is working and cutting through it pretty quickly. As it does, there you go, there's a heart reinforced wall part off of it, but on the other side of the map, K5 found one to Kusik, and that's the opening frag to TLR, one of the only times that has happened. We'll see how this is going to work, if the whole round is going to sway into their favor now, as K5 has made his way into Armory Stairs, and Oculus has breached into not Attic, that is going to be Closet, and that is a lot of map control on the side of TLR.
And Last Resort don't have to overextend here. They have a minute 20 to work with. This is such a fantastic, if not perfect, position for them to win this first map. And even more so now as K5 applies even more pressure to that wound as he'll find another for himself. A 5-on-3 will go into effect, and the Last Resort are beginning to work their way into sight and go for a possible plant. There's still a lot of hope for RCTIC, though, as they have some of the most valuable players up on the board, but that lineup will slowly begin to dwindle down. Oculus picks up one on a Rage, and it's a 1v5. Make it 1v4 and 0v4 as Oculus, around the corner through Closet, will shut down the lone player of Tricky. He's not going to surpass 21 kills. He'll be shut down before he even reaches 20, and Last Resort will take the first map on Oregon, 7-5.
Tricky was stuck in a tricky position at the end, stuck in a 1v5. He saw his teammates just all dropping one by one by one by one, and it was all up to him in a 1v5. He got 1 kill, but there were 2 more guns looking at his face, and he could not get that final 5 kills. And, well, like I said in the last round, a 1v5 is a really, really tough position. Even if you are fragging out and having the game of your life like Tricky did, it's just not a situation you're expected to win, and 9 out of 10 times you're not going to win it. And this just shows yet again that this is one of the 9 out of 10 times.
Couldn't have said any better myself, but I think we're going to go into a short little break. You can correct me if I'm wrong, of course, and then we'll get back into map number 2, which is going to be Villa, a very similar map compared to Oregon. So maybe we'll have a little bit of deja vu once more. Maybe this will be a 7-5 victory, or even closer in the favor of the last resort, or maybe we will see that decider map of Consulate. We're not going to have to speculate for that much longer, as we will go into that short little break, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.
Hello there, I'm Jerry the Music Man, Yukon caster, ECS owner, ECS staff match winner ×2. And I'm here to tell you today, in my dressing gown, that this is it.
This is the final stage of the Elite Championship Series 2021 winter season.
After an intense league season, the top-bracketed teams from our open contenders and major division will be battling it out for a total prize pool.
€800.
800 euros.
And being crowned ECS Winter 2021 champions.
It won't be easy.
In past matches, we have seen major teams fall to the likes of Open Team.
Hang on, I need to change this bit. Up to it won't be easy. All that is good.
Only time will tell who our champions will be.
The final stage of the league is made up of a simple elimination bracket.
2 quarterfinals, 2 semi-finals, a losers final, and then the game everybody has been waiting for.
The staff show match.
Cut there. Start getting in.
I mean the grand finals.
Across stage 1 and 2, we've seen the mighty Paragon and the Last Resort, both contenders teams, make their way through to the final stages to face the very best of the major division. You can cut there. Why can't I get this one? Okay, another cut there. That was a bit awkward. I mean, it's all awkward, but I'll do it again.
See someone in the corner? No, he doesn't. Does he know of this? This could be huge, and he does get found. No, he doesn't. Bruno with the 180 as Azor gets one and Null gets.
Can maybe expand to, but Null's gonna be rotating. He does it. He catches 2. That's gonna be Monks and Kusik wiped off the board. That was a double, nearly a collat.
Of the defenders. So it could work well for the smoke. Dropping the hats. The attacker, Cariudo, getting a double, dropping into freezer, completely unaware. And he gets a quad kill. It's an ace. Yes, the ace. Cariudo drops into
Even if he
freezer.
does so dynamic that even if they do manage to grab this diffuser, which they look like they're about to, does pick up 1 kill for himself and win. But Bill will set the diffuser down beneath that hatch. Ash now has to do double duty, trying to cover from the pinch, and she will do it perfectly. Kaz with the swing on both defenders.
There's go, but he's not going to spot the player by AK. No, Textrolo sneaks on in, and he's going to be able to get one of Choco. Can't find 3 as the Legion's going to walk on in, gets the yellow ping, but can't, or he's going to be able to get Frenzy. 2 more to go. He's going to be able to get it all. 1 more on Junior. Can he hold it out together?
So before that, Hazard left DBNO will finally be cleaned up as well, and just like that, TLR.
So, without further ado, fasten your seatbelts.
It's time to dance.
Ready your angled grips.
It's now or never.
Hold on to your hats.
Now let's head over to our desk. Jerry out.
That was for you, Jerry. Very lovely intro. It doesn't get old. I've already seen it twice. I want to see it 100 times more. But welcome back, everybody, for map number 2 for ECS. My name is Fellow. Also joined here by Yannick once more. Same combination. And we're going to be heading into Villa. Just a couple of moments. Not going to have to wait that much longer. We'll go into the map bans yet again, just as a refresher for the decider map as well. But what a phenomenal first game. It was a little bit of a barn burner, but it wasn't all that bad. A 7-5 victory for the Last Resort, and they had a really great start and a decent finish as well. But RCTIC for sure did not give that victory up that easily. It was still really close down to the wire. I just hope that Villa has the exact same outcome as beforehand, as it will hopefully be down to the wire, considering the fact that they're both very similar maps.
Indeed. Some might argue that Villa's a bit more defender-sided than Oregon, but indeed a very, very similar map. RCTIC starting on the defense should give them that edge, a little bit of an edge into the into this map. Maybe get some rounds in, get their morale up, see if they can finish it out this time. So I do want to see that third map of Consulate.
I do as well. I think Consulate and also Coastline have a really special place in my heart because they're not entirely defender favored maps. Consulate, as I mentioned beforehand, very 50-50. It can go really either way. There's only 2 guaranteed bomb sites that you're going to win 90% of the time. That's Archives and Tellers, which was added the most recent update for Consulate, and also the basement floor of Garage and Kitchen Room, which is a very strong site for Mira as well, just an FYI for anybody. But that's basically it. Council isn't really the best of sites to go to, and Lobby is a complete toss-up. It really depends on what lineup you bring to the table. And then Coastline is just, it's so aggressive, but it's so amazing, especially for play-by-play caster. You can definitely attest to that one, Yannick, but we're not going to get to see those matchups until later on, at least for Consulate. We're going to go back to Villa, and even though it's very similar to Oregon, there are still a little bit of differences in there. There's some minor details that are slightly different, I suppose. A lot more vertical play can go into effect. You don't see that a lot on Oregon unless you go to one of those bomb sites that are on the first floor. And also a very heavy roam presence as well, just because of how dense Villa is as a map.
Indeed, a lot of good rotation possibilities. If 3 stairs there to use at your disposal as a roamer. I want to see Tricky on those roams again. He's been absolutely going insane last map. He had so many 17 kills. You said 19 kills. Excuse me, 19 kills. Don't want to play down the defeat he did in that matchup. So yeah, he's gonna be a player to watch out for. But TLR have just been so greatly, I don't know how to describe it. They just know, it seems like they know what they're doing, and they're very well tuned into. They're on the same wavelength in a very decisive way. Are you down 2 men in the first minute? That doesn't matter. We've got someone else coming in on the flank just to help him out, just to level it all back up. It's all of those double kills, man. It's insane. TLR is doing a good job. I don't want to say RCTIC is doing a bad job. They're doing absolutely insane. As you said, it came down to the wire. We were 1 round away from overtime, and I can definitely see RCTIC taking this map and us going to Consulate.
I hope so too, just because you don't always get to see Consulate, to be honest. And RCTIC narrowly lost that, like you and I both have said 1,000 times already. We'll say it 1,000 more, just because we want to hammer down that point. It really could have gone either way. It was just the fact that RCTIC had a couple of minor hiccups at the very end of that first map, and it really ended up biting them in the behind when it mattered most. And like we also mentioned for the roam, I would love to see Tricky doing that as well, and he has a lot more opportunities to find huge kills just because of how big Villa is. There's the basement floor that no one likes to fully discuss, but it can have a huge impact on the round. You can perform a lot of rotations from that basement floor and really not get flushed out as easily. And there's also a lot of vertical play denial. You can see some really interesting Pulse or Valkyrie plays, which we saw Courage on the Valkyrie on the side of TLR, or what is it? The Last Resort? Yeah, TLR, I was right. Okay, good. I'm horrible with abbreviations, but TLR was bringing those huge intel ops that can work vertically as well, but hopefully we get to see it going into the matchup, because we're going to be starting up right now, and that's going to transition us into the ban phase, which I want to have or know your opinion, Yannick, for this side.
I think it's going to be very similar to Oregon. As you said, the maps are very similar, so Thatcher ban, Heartbreacher ban, and a Cade ban, and the Mirror ban. As we're going to see now, RCTIC with our first ban, it's the Thatcher ban, as I just predicted. What do you expect of the bans, fellow?
I'm not shocked at all. We might see an Ace instead of a Habana, just because Habana isn't really that well used on this map compared to Ace, because he can just throw all of his Selmas at the exact same time and deny a Bandit trick or sometimes a Kaid trick, depending on where the Kaid is positioned at, so that could be the case. But no! I was going to mention this a moment ago, but I was too busy monologuing. The Jackal ban comes into play. We were talking about those aggressive and extensive roams coming out, and Jackal is the best way to counteract that. So we could really see some flashy plays coming out by Tricky or anybody else that decides to go on those deep and evasive roam games, because now Jackal's off the board.
Indeed, a Mirror being a very standard ban, at least I think on the EU side of things. I know it's as common in NA.
Yeah,
but Mira is a very strong operator. That one-way Mirror can give you so many advantages. It's insane how much Mira changed the meta, especially when she came out, I think, already 4 years ago now. And god, time is passing by quickly. But the fourth ban being the Maestro, RCTIC, I think they were the only team that picked it last time around, but they don't want to see it this map at all. No more Evil Eyes and no more bulletproof cameras, at least from Thatcher. From Maestro.
He can be used a little bit better on Villa, so it does make a lot of sense. You either see that ban or a Valk ban, just either one of those intel gathering operators that any or everyone can kind of use effectively. It makes a whole lot of sense, and We are going to see the Valkyrie pick, like I mentioned a while ago. It's not going to be on the operator that I believed it to be. It'll be Viper or Rage Vipe, however you want to prefer to call it. But he'll still be rocking that Intel operator, and we do see Tricky on the roaming Melusi. This is a very laid back and more ranked style approach from what it looks to be on the side of RCTIC, because I don't think we're going to see that extension come out into main stairwell or 90 corner just based off of the operators that we're currently viewing right now, Yannick. But I could, of course, be wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. The operator lineup, you said, very, very ranked style indeed. I could definitely see the Melusi of Tricky on the roam yet again as he did last game. He could go on another tear this map. We'll just have to wait and see how effective he'll be. Vip, of course, on the Valkyrie cam is going to give some valuable intel on the side of RCTIC. He's going to try to place those in places you won't expect, but Villa being a map that's been here, at least with us, for quite a long time now. I think most of the Valkyrie spots have been found out, but maybe RCTIC has some up their sleeve. Who knows? We are in the final stages of ECS playoffs. Not to stress it, but I will want to stress, that if RCTIC lose this map, that's them out of the playoffs, and TL are progressing.
It's do or die. They've got to win this, or they're going home with empty pockets and really, really sad expressions on their faces. And so far, Monks, they don't want to give up this position near Master Bedroom. They're going to be on a very extensive roam, which will slow down the last resort pretty well for the most part, unless, of course, they find a massive opening frag. Currently, though, drones will come into play. Tricky will get spotted out, but Kusik will find the entry onto Panicky. There goes one of your soft destructors down the drain, and a gigantic entry frag player will be denied and have to sit on bench for another couple moments. Luckily, though, K5 will pick up a refrag. Tricky follows suit, and K5 returning the favor instantly onto Tricky, who was so prominent and assertive on the last matchup, and he himself as well will have to be sitting pretty for a little while longer now in this 3-on-3 where it's still any man's game with 1:45 now on the clock.
Mung said the Legion off the board is going to be huge. Less Legion mines now on the board on the side of RCTIC. I don't know how many he placed down. We'll sadly never know, to be sure. Kusik goes for the peak, though quite aggressive here. That's not going to work out for him as Hazard is going to get the kill. Takes his head clean off. And as your Heartbreach is still alive, he's going to go for some breaching here. As he's probably going to open up the vault wall, and yes, he does. That's the first wall to be opened, falling under the breaching charges. There's Soma charges off the ace, but Oculus gets one on the VIP, and it's now all down to NW with the SMG-11, but Hazard is going to make quick work of that, and that's Last Resort winning their first attacking round on Villa very, very convincingly.
Great execute, and overall covering a lot of the map itself. Almost immediately into the first round, they had everyone on the roam clear. They didn't opt to attack from different areas, I should say, like we saw last time on Oregon. They all ended up coming in through the master bedroom part of the map, so that allowed for the extensive roam game of RCTIC to be immediately refragged and shut out of play, which really wasn't that good for RCTIC. That was their entire strategy, and once you had that smoke player in a 1-on-3, I believe that was NW, in Barroom, he really couldn't do all that much. He was just trapped inside of that objective room. The best he could do was really wide swing on out into Hazard, and it just wasn't meant to be. That'll be a quick pickup round win for Last Resort, and we aren't going to see the exact same objective room be played. It's the one right across from it on the exact same floor. It'll be Trophy and Statuary, where another extension comes into play, but this time it will be on the southern side of the map instead of the northern part.
They're basically flipping it around. When they first defended at south side bomb site, they extended into the north, and now they're flipping it around. They're defending the north side bomb site, and they're going down south. It's an interesting play here, one that I haven't seen before. Not this aggressively. It's not this much utility being put into it. They actually put a lot of reinforcements there, and I don't know. It's a really weird setup right now from RCTIC. Something I haven't seen, but maybe it'll work out. Hasn't worked out in the first round just yet, but many more opportunities to prove it is still to come.
I want to know if the Last Resort are going to go underneath to try to break those bandit batteries, because I'm assuming that Vipe's job is to just deny the wall. He probably has both his Electric Claws in his back pocket, so he'll end up returning to site pretty shortly. Not going to have to wait that much more to figure that one out, but at the moment, the Last Resort is just opting to clear out 90 corner as soon as possible. Wide swing comes out. Kusik won't deal a single bit of damage, but the favor will not be returned as well, so it's still an even man count and even health count. Monks, though, gets far too aggressive for his own good and gets shut down by Panicky, and Courage follows suit. There goes your 90 control, and Last Resort having a strong start yet again on this Villa attack, as they've already removed the roam extension and are beginning to work their way into the actual bomb site itself of Statuary. And what a beautiful shot by Panicky twice in a row now, as he finds another on a Rage Vipe, and now it's a 2v5 already looking grim on the side of RCTIC, and a 3k for Panicky, might I add. It's just up to NW having to ace clutch this, and he'll run out of ammo in his MPX. It'll be a freebie for Courage, and now we'll have to go into a pause time. 2-0 favoring the Last Resort.
What a push from TLR. They saw the extension and they made quick work of it, killing the two people playing the extended defense into AVG. Made quick work of that, killed those two players, and from there on they steamrolled their way in. They went in and they killed the last remaining defenders on site, and in the end it was the I think it was the Valkyrie of NW, if I'm not mistaken, stuck in a 1v4 situation. Actually, a 1v5 situation. Killed one, but could not kill the second. As we are now going to pause due to an emergency reason by TLR. I hope everything is all right over there, and I hope everything, like I said, I hope everything's going to be all right. I hope there's nothing too bad happening over there. I'd hate for that to happen. Of course, anything health or safety related should go above Siege at all times. But what is your take on that round, fella?
No, I agree, especially since Siege is probably the reason why they have a health hazard. It's a very frustrating game, but enough of the sarcasm and slight banter between us both. We will actually dissect that round a little bit, as we do have some free time on our hands. So, again, another very quick way to get rid of that roam clear. They had almost everybody just work their way in from study, get rid of the player inside of bar. Then they got control of 90, just hitting their shots so consistently. It was beautiful to watch. And then they just converted that manpower into map control. They were getting ready for the plant in a 4v1 because NW did pick up 1 kill, but it wasn't enough. He had to find 4 more kills, having to ace essentially, and he just couldn't do it. He was a sitting duck inside of Trophy Room. There really wasn't much for him to do. He was getting pincered from multiple angles. The plant was going down. It was another almost free round win essentially for the Last Resort, just based off of how well they played it. I mean, they already have 2 rounds up on the attacking side of Villa. It tends to lean towards a 4-2 split, but already the Last Resort have the first 2 in their favor. If they lose all 4, this is still a decent start for them, but I don't think that's going to be the case, Yannick. We might see a 3-3 or maybe even more than that favoring the Last Resort.
Indeed, and not just the round count is in their favor, the momentum is in their favor as well. Well, maybe not as much due to this rehost or this pause right now, but they have won 2 rounds in such convincing fashion, and the second round in quick fashion, that going into the third round, they must be feeling really good about themselves. They know they got the gun skill, they know they have the siege skill, the game sense to do it. So, what is stopping them from winning round number 3 is what they must be thinking. So, yeah, that's TLR looking really, really good on this attack right now.
That's the best way to put it. The only thing that I could see RCTIC being able to do to recover from this is just bring a more default lineup. They had a setup that was very reminiscent of kind of ranked, just kind of, oh, we'll go on some kind of deep run, just hope we find the opening frag. You know, we have the Gunners of Tricky, for example, to outfrag the opponents, so it shouldn't be that hard, but it was a lot more difficult than what they anticipated. Now they're going to have to play a little bit more conservatively and try to use a lot more utility against TLR. Yep, TLR. I don't know why I keep second-guessing myself on that, but TLR, they're doing great like you mentioned, but back on RCTIC, maybe bringing out the Goyo. He's really strong on the map of Villa. Wamai as well. We saw that combination come out on Oregon. That would be perfect. I'm thinking of a lineup of Goyo, Smoke, Vigil, or not Vigil, sorry, well, Mai and Jaeger. I don't know why I thought of Vigil, but we could see Vigil on Tragic, but most likely, or Tricky, he will most likely go on to that Melusi, adding even more utility into the mix. That would be an almost picture-perfect team composition to try to slow down, if not completely shut out, the attacking side of TLR.
Indeed, such a lineup would make it really, really hard for TLR to do this really fast-paced push through the map as they have been doing as of late, or as of the last round. But another thing we could look into is which site they're going to pick. They've tried 2 of the default sites, being AVG and Statuary, and it hasn't worked for them either time. So the question for RCTIC right now is are we going to go back to one of those 2 sites on the top floor, or are we going to go downstairs, maybe into kitchen, just try and throw them off, and maybe that will give them the round win to at least halt the momentum of TLR right now?
I love that kind of mindset. I'm not going to lie. I personally, kitchen and dining is one of my favorite, if not my favorite site to go on Villa. It may seem a little bit odd, but it's either going to be that or we're heading back to Aviator in games with a very similar lineup that I just mentioned. That's very common when attacking or defending, that other secondary bomb site. It's going to be one of those 2. If we go to kitchen and dining, we'll see a very extensive roam where Trix will just try to outfrag and just run around like a chicken with his head cut off, or we'll see a much more reclusive and very well kept and mannered side of RCTIC where they just try to hold down the fort, anchor in, huddle up, and just try to just burn as much time as physically possible. It's either A or B. There is no C option. We most definitely will not return to a trophy room. That would be a huge mistake. And also, there's probably no D option. I hope we don't get a library because I've seen that play like once and it was not very successful, to say the least.
No, library is it's almost undefendable. I think it's
really
a really bad site for the defense, at least. I mean, if you're attacking library, it's library living room. Excuse me, that's a piece of cake. But we should be catching up to the game here real soon, as I think it's just under a minute now until we go back into the game. Hope we can see round number 3, and let's hope RCTIC have something to say against TLR's reign, and let's get a round back. So we're going to just keep rambling now, as the game is still just catching up to us. We have the delay on the game now, so yeah, well, we'll just talk a little bit more. How has your first ECS cast experience been, fella? Let's talk about that.
I'm loving every second of it. Got in here from McCready, so shouts to him. Figured I would give him a little bit more publicity, even though he really doesn't need it. He's a great guy and also a fantastic caster. I've learned so much from him, but we're actually going trophy. I had a gut feeling that once I mentioned we're probably not going to see trophy, it's going to happen because players just love to just belittle me. I don't blame them. I'm a very easy target for the most part, so good on them for picking that up, but it's going to be almost the exact same lineup as well by RCTIC. They're really not straying away from what they're comfortable with. The only big difference that I can spot out immediately is the fact that Rage Viper is now on the mute and there's no Kaid on the board. Maybe we won't see any type of bandit tricking or mute tricking on the main wall, but instead just trying to bring a little bit more frag potential instead, which RCTIC normally does a great job of doing, but for the most part on Villa, that's not been the same story.
No, indeed. RCTIC has been losing their gunfights as of the map Villa. Tricky hasn't been able to come to fruition as he did in the first map either. Only on 1 kill now after 2 rounds played. I really hope RCTIC can come alive and wake up from this little sleep they've been having, but this mute is going to play out big, as it's going to stop the information gathering from TLR just a little bit here. 1 drone is going to be muted, and Panic is going to need to swing in and get the mute jammer, as he does, so now he can be droned in just like before.
And they can already begin to clear out the players that are inside of bar and also 90 corner. Courage as well, going underneath. This is a very big IQ play on the IQ of herself, as you can spot out the player of Valkyrie on her camera. She's doing that just now, trying to double check and make sure that there's no deep roamer currently just caught with their pants down, for example. Not going to be the case just yet, but a great play regardless, as the Last Resort begins to slowly creep their way into 90 corner, and oh, this is This is a dirty play. That C4 could come out and could be huge. But speaking of C4s, it'll be Tricky's Nitro Cell to land. And it's just a sea of blue as RCTIC finally gets their footing on the right tile. Now in a 5-on-2, just up to Oculus and Hazard. And they have a lot of food to bite off of their plate right now with a minute 30 roughly on the clock.
2v5 is not a situation you want to be in. It's a situation that is very, very in your disadvantage, as I must not be able to have to point out to you. But Tricky is going to get the kills. Is now on 3, getting this double kill this round. And now it's all up to Oculus on the sledge. The only thing he has going for him is that he has the diffuser. Other than that, nothing is really on his side. Oh, he does get one amazing pre-fire onto Tricky. And that is now a 1v4 for Oculus. Time is slowly ticking down. He has just under 1 minute. That's a lot of seconds in Siege terms. He's now going to make his way into bedroom. He's slightly closer to site, and he's going to need to frag his way out of this as he wants to win this map. Or, excuse me, this round. He's going to hold the angle towards Trophy now, excuse me, Statuary. So he's going to decide to go towards Bathroom, but Bandit on the right side, the Bandit of NW is waiting for him to peek in. He looks the wrong way, and that's the end of that round. And RCTIC take their first round on Statuary.
Great trigger discipline by NW, and it really did seem like a non-winnable round for the side of Last Resort. Finally, RCTIC will have a little bit of success on this defensive side of Villa, but they still have a lot to fill in for the blanks here. They've only won their first round. It's still 2-1 favoring TLR. And as I mentioned a moment ago, if the Last Resort doesn't win any rounds up to the second half, this is still a pretty common defensive hold for Villa. So they're still on the right track to win this second map and bring it in a 2-0 victory favoring them. That would not be great, obviously, for RCTIC because they would be out of all relegations. That's obviously not what you want to have happen, but they have to do so much more than just winning a petty round here and there. They've got to just start dominating like they were on the last map of Oregon before they were finally thwarted on those last 2 rounds when going in towards Kitchen and Meeting, for example.
Indeed, we see the pulse coming out from VIP. It's going to be big. He's going to be able to hold and at least give information to his roamers, or at least the roamers on the side of RCTIC, on how things are looking upstairs. This is going to be a game changer. Of course, 3 C4s even on the defensive side could play big as well, as he only needs to ping to the floor, and the C4 goes out, and boom, and, well, in theory, if your attacker goes away with the boom as well, but it usually is not that easy, at least not for me. I don't know how you have experienced C4s in your Siege games, fella.
50-50 toss-up. Really depends on... It's just timing, but RCTIC has set themselves up in a way where this could be a very easy and passive going round. I didn't see anyone up above, but now through the outlines I can kind of gather a little bit more intel, so there will be someone on the side of RCTIC to deny that push. I think it was NW, but no, it was Monks. I'm getting my outlines completely wrong at the moment, but that Legion player, along with Kusik, who's coming from behind, could also be a huge thorn in the side of the Last Resort, as if a lot of time gets wasted, about a minute 30 or minute 20 or so off the board, that could be all over for the Last Resort. They might not have enough time to go for this execute, and like you mentioned, there's so much secondary utility and gadgets on the side of RCTIC. They could just deny the push coming out simply based off that, not even the extensive roam which is being performed by both the Legion and Jaeger player.
1 C4 has been expended on the side of RCTIC. Excuse me, now 2 have been expended, as there's one more I think that's left on the pulse himself of VIP. C4s have not been working like the way they want, at least RCTIC wants them to work. TLR now have firm control over top floor, but not if it's up to Tricky. He's still coming back and wants to take a fight. Excuse me, actually, never mind. Kusik is still up there. He's going to take the fight up with Courage, but Courage wins that one without even losing a slither of HP, and that's going to be that done. K5 follows it up with 1 as well, and now it's a 3v5 on the side of RCTIC, and it's not looking too hot for them.
They have no more secondary utility. That was their saving grace. Courage now on a double kill as he works his way lower and lower into the map, descending in towards the depths. And Tricky will find a refrag in compensation, but it's still that 4-on-2. A huge advantage, might I add, for the Last Resort. They're going to begin to go for this defuse into sight, and there isn't really much else that Rage Vipe or Tricky can really do, as they have nothing to counteract it other than their pure mechanical skill. We'll see that brought to you perfectly by Tricky as he claims the head of another. That's going to be Panicky down for the count, but he'll get shot from up above. The eye in the sky is Oculus, and now that brings Rage Vipe in a 1 versus 3. The plant hasn't been put down yet, but it will begin to be typed out by Hazard. They don't have anyone completely covering except for the player red marked, but from above, Oculus still lurks and will bring Rage back into another passive position. This does not look to be a hopeful round for the defensive squad, as we have the lone player on the side of RCTIC just trapped inside a pantry. He'll pick up one on a K5, but he'll miss the second opportunity on the Hazard. That's a huge miscalculation, and he'll pay the price with his own blood, as Hazard will shut him out. And that will be another huge round win, favoring the Last Resort. 3-1 in their favor.
A 3-3 split is in the bag for the side of TLR. They're looking good on this attacking half, and RCTIC need to respond fast. They need to win the next 2 rounds, and they want even a slightly positive note to this defensive half. If TLR wins another one and make it 4-1, I think that's a really bad sign for RCTIC. This map is historically defender-sided, and RCTIC really need to step up their game. Going back to AVG. AVG, the first site that they tried, it's tricky as putting it in chat, but sorry, that just threw me completely off. AVG, the first site, the site where RCTIC got the opening kill, and we'll see if they can hopefully try that hold that they did up in Statuary a little bit better this time, because it did work the second time they tried on Statuary, so let's hope it can work for them the second time they tried on AVG.
I don't want to be a pessimist, nor someone that disagrees with their commentator. I hate it when 2 co-casters disagree with one another, but this is the exact same team comp that we saw RCTIC when they first defended Aviator in Games Room, or Planes in Games if you want to be a little more comical about it. It's very funny in some occasions, but RCTIC doesn't really have the best lineup to defend this bomb site. They're going to go for that exact same extension, but if Last Resort reads into this perfectly, this could be another easy round win for them. They're up by 2 rounds already. RCTIC cannot give away any more freebies whatsoever. They got to start clapping back with even more, if not at least the exact same firepower that the Last Resort has been delivering to us. And at least they'll provide, as they're already full stacking up in towards Master to try to shut out these players of Rage Vipe and Monk. Ooh. And already they're inside of Closet. You're going to hear the gunshots come into play in a matter of seconds as they're already inside of Master. This is going to be a devastating round for either side, depending on who finds this entry frag in this next couple of seconds.
RCTIC, or at least Monks, is feeling the pressure right now as he's getting droned in, and he hears the gunfire of Courage very, very close by, just around the corner in that doorway. As you said, the entry kill is going to be huge. Whoever finds it is going to find the momentum, but TLR have found a way around him. They found a way around the Legion playing his Statuary, and they've just gone to Astronomy. There's nobody here to contest it, but Oculus finds the kill into Monks, and that's the first kill in the favor of TLR. Now we'll see if they can follow up another one, and yes they do, and that's VIP off the board. It's now a 3v5. RCTIC is looking in a very, very bad spot right now, as TLR with full force are coming towards their site. Oculus is droning it out. He knows what's happening there. There, gone goes your Malusi charge, gone goes your intel there, if you would ever want to use that for intel, and Tricky finds one back onto Panicky. It's a 3v4 now, as Courage is at the door for the site.
I would say this is deja vu or a repeat of what we saw last round when this site was defended by RCTIC. But this is even better for Last Resort. They still have that hard breacher up and alive, and they have even more manpower to work with. Instead of a 3-on-3, it's a 4-on-3, still favoring Last Resort. The wide swing comes out by Tricky, trying to desperately deny that push in from Aviator doorway, but it won't be successful. And now those Selmas being detonated on the back hunting wall. Kusik has to get aggressive. It'll work perfectly for him, but now he's on such little HP and can be refragged at any given moment. This is still a great opportunity for the Last Resort to pick up their 4th round win. Kusik, though, doubling down, picks up a second. The wide swing comes out by K5, though, but now he's in a 1v2 as Kusik is on a tear on the roaming Jaeger, and now he has to find the kill onto both Tricky and Kusik and has very little information to work with. He's got to find that carrier in through 90 corner, narrowly missing the shots on the player in the other objective room, but he still has a little bit of hope left in his back pocket if he at least finds a singular frag on this 5th round. We're down to 20 seconds though, and he's got to get aggressive with these peaks, but Kusik with the quad will shut down the play completely. What a round win by RCTIC, coming back in a desperate time of need as Kusik takes the round win off of his huge carry.
Kusik went aggro when RCTIC needed it the most, getting the first 2 kills in that breach, getting the ace, and after that getting, I think that was the Ash. He turned the momentum that TLR had, totally flipped it on its head, and brought it back for RCTIC. He, as you said, carried that round, and now we're in a 3-2 split. RCTIC can still make this favorable for them, just slightly favorable for them if they can win the next round. But going back to Strophy Statuary, the side they lost the first time, but they won the second time, so we'll see if they can learn, maybe even improve on it more than they did last time, and win it for the 3rd time.
I would hope so. They have another very familiar lineup. Again, it's something I wouldn't really prefer, but it can work put into the right hands. And RCTIC, they've been able to provide in most situations. Not all, but most. So that's a decent statistic at the very least. So they could come back from this, which they have been doing quite well so far. If they bring it 3-3, then they have a fighting chance on the second half. But if not, this could be over in a matter of seconds on the side of the Last Resort, favoring them and bringing it 2-0 in this best of 3. So this is going to be one of the most crucial and impactful rounds for RCTIC, and they need this one so much.
They do, and I think the last time they won this site was when the people playing in the AVG side, I think, the south side of the building, they won their gunfights against the 2 members of TLR that were pushing towards that site. If they can recreate that, that's going to be the game, and that's going to be the round for them, and the half a little bit more in their favor. But we're going to see how that's all going to transpire. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds still to go. A lot of time. We're just barely into this round, but Kusik is already aggressively holding this angle towards Study. If he gets thrown out, this could work against him with the pre-fire coming out. But he wisely decides to get off that angle and fall back a bit towards 90. But there's still the Valkyrie of Monks sitting there. Now, oh, Kusik came back. He wants this kill, but ooh, barely missing the head of the TLR attacker. Monks is still just playing with his life right now, but the attackers have moved their way into top white, and that's a good foothold for the side of TLR.
A minute off the clock, but luckily the Last Resort has been able to work their way into Study and that main stairwell. Like you mentioned, there's still players like Vipe, though, holding very aggressively with that Mossberg shotty at hand. He'll have to fall back just a little bit, but the roam presence is still so heavy on the side of RCTIC. If they keep stalling for about 30 more seconds, give or take, this could be the round over and in their favor, completely based off of the time disadvantage on the side of Last Resort. Rage again. He's getting quite aggressive once more, but still hasn't been able to find anything. But on the bright side, he's still alive, and one player who is no longer with us, rest in peace, is Courage, who gets his head ripped right off his shoulders by Kusik, who has been on a tear since the last round. And now, finally, RCTIC has begun to work away from Aviator and also the Study side, but Monks doubling down. He'll pick up one on a Panicky, and Kusik follows suit. It's just a 5v2 now, and this looks to be a 3-3 split on the side of RCTIC unless the Last Resort can clutch this up in such a desperate time of need.
The Last Resort need to pull something out of their bag of tricks. Yeah, out of their you-know-what, if they want to win this round. But Oculus is going to die at the hands of the shotgun. And that's Vip finding another kill and is now all down to Hazard in a 1v5 situation. We've seen these situations many times today, and it has never favored the person that was alone. Gonna see if he'll do it this time, but no, Kusik finds one more for his troubles, and a flawless round for RCTIC. 3-3 into the split we go. Absolutely amazing stuff. An amazing round coming out from RCTIC.
They still had a couple more tricks up their sleeves, and hey, they gave us a show. It's completely evened up, a little different from what we saw last time, as it was a 4-2 split, favoring the defensive side of TLR, and it's going to favor them again as they're now on the better half of Villa. They're going to go a very utility-based lineup for Aviator in games. They won't bring the Wamai, but instead, here's the real kicker, Warden's on the board for Courage. I think, personally, he's an underutilized operator because he can just directly deny a lot of these pushes with his own gadget, not having to worry about anybody else's, like an ADS, for example. He has a deployable shield to work with, and that 1.5 time optic with that MPX is just, oh, it's so nice and pristine.
I agree with you, man. That thing is a headshot machine. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, the MPX at the 1.5, it's... I want to say it's kind of broken, but then again, if I say that, I hope Ubisoft won't fix it. Because it's so good at long range, especially with like peeking with that thing is insane. The recoil is very minimal. The only real downside to the MPX is that it does really little damage to body shots. You really want to hit the head with the MPX. Otherwise, yeah, you're not going to win that fight. But moving on, round number 7, AVG now going to be held by TLR. We'll see if they can hold this site, a site that RCTIC could only win once, and that was with Kusik going absolutely massive with the 4K. Let's see how TLR will stand up to the task.
I think they're going to follow in Last Resort's footsteps because they've all spawned, except for NW, of course. They all spawn near the master side of the map. At the moment, though, I might be proven wrong almost immediately because Rage Vipe is droning out Study. They all spawn near Fountain, but they just do a complete 180 in towards Study. They're going to confront the problem head on like a bull facing down that red cloth by the Manador. This is going to be a very interesting 7th round, but RCTIC is very well known for their mechanical skill and outgunning their opponents, so this could still be a round heavily in their favor, and they're already going for an assertive take underneath, trying to clear out these roamers. This could be big if they pick up K5, who has been a huge issue to deal with on the last matchup on Oregon. And oh no, he'll get caught on the rotation as Monks finds one on the K5 and another on the Courage. There goes your roam game down the drain. But on the bright side, the Last Resort will find a refrag, evening things up in a 3-on-3.
The entry from RCTIC was really, really nice, getting the early kill onto TLR, but TLR responded back with 2 of their own, and we're all back in square. Hazard, though, ooh, is he gonna drop the hatcher and get 2 kills? He might, if he's not, if RCTIC are not careful here, but they seem to know what's going on. Oh no, Kusik is on the drone. Ooh. Oh, Hazard, oh no. Would have been an amazing drop there, though. Panicky is still here on top of White Stairs. Nobody there to contest him, though, just yet, as NW is still in the upside-down rappel, and these lines of sight from TLR working very well in their favor, but Kusik finds one, and now TLR are between a rock and a hard place.
Kusik following up in Tricky's footsteps from the last matchup, 10-3 now. He is doing very well on a flex roll on the Nomad at the moment. They still have Diffuser in hand as well, and in all reality, it's basically up to Oculus unless Hazard can play Ring Around the Rosie behind this hunting area. One Toxic Babe comes out by Oculus. That will slow down the push for a moment longer, but he only has one more left. So a plant could most definitely come into effect. He does not have enough utility to counteract this push. Oculus playing behind the displayable shield, though he'll wide swing, lighting up Kusik, and instead of using the smoke grenade for a plant denial, he'll flush out the player of Kusik. This can allow for the plant even more so now, as Monks is on a 3K as he shuts down Hazard. The plant coming down into effect. Oculus is on the flank, and no one's denying it. He wide swings around, but Monks just simply hits his shots more consistently. A quad kill for the IQ player, and it will be RCTIC's 4th round win.
RCTIC is now ahead for the first time in this matchup, 4-3, with an amazing attacking push coming in there. The 2 opening kills, which were immediately refragged by the side of TLR, but TLR could not hold on to the site for long enough. And RCTIC just came in there, got rid of the attackers, and it was Oculus left outside of the site in 90. He had to retake the site with an SMG-11. It's one of the worst guns in the game at long range, and it was just a task very hard for him. But RCTIC, very good push at the end there. A very good execute onto the site. Good drone play at the beginning. Honestly, a very good round from RCTIC.
It was a great pickup by them. It really didn't seem like they were at a loss throughout that entire 7th round. They found the opening frag, denied the roam game at the very beginning, at the very start. It wasn't a problem in the back of their heads because they denied it very quickly. Then they worked up above. They shut down a couple players in the middle of sight, made it a 3-on-2, then a 3-on-1, and there wasn't much that Oculus could do. He had no map control. He had zero utility to work with. It was just a man and his SMG-11 at hand. But sometimes that can work out. This was not one of those situations. And now, the last resort, they're not going to double down in the middle of Trophy, or pardon, not Astronomy, but instead head in towards Trophy with a very interesting lineup. They have a lot of intel to work with still with K5 on that Valkyrie. This is, I believe, almost the exact same lineup that we saw by RCTIC, except for the fact that there's no Melusi on the board and instead Elysian at hand. But other than that, this is still very reminiscent from the first half that we just commentated over a couple of minutes ago.
Indeed, it's less of an extend though in the way of the south side of the building. RCTIC know that, and they're just gonna walk straight in. It's taking 5th control of the south side of the map. AVG almost under control. Monks is gonna drone ahead into top red as he's gonna spot the first defenders on his drones. TLR though are going for kind of a different take here. They're more off-site than I think RCTIC were, and it's a deeper roam here, especially from K5 all the way at the bottom. If he can stay down there and out of the sights of RCTIC, it could be a big flank coming in from him. Hazard, though, is going to take on the gunfight with Monks. At least he's going to be moving into it, but Courage gets on the VIP, and that's a good opening kill. Hazard gets that kill into Monks, and it's now a 3v5 with NW down outside. He gets finished off, but a trade coming in from Kusik, and Tricky getting a C Claymore kill on K5. It's a 3v5 now. So, excuse me, 3v2, excuse me. And RCTIC are looking not so hot right now, but TLR... but RCTIC still have a lot of time to work with and a diffuser on hand. Not to mention the drone economy. Tricky still has 2 drones on him ready to use to spot out these defenders and help Kusik with his entry if that is the play that they're gonna make. One of the drones now does get shot. 1 minute 20 remaining in the first smoke canister used by the side of TLR.
RCTIC still has a huge chance at winning this. They brought back the manpower a slight bit. They're still down on a minor deficit, but a 5v2 is not as winnable compared to a 2-on-3. Toxic Babe comes out. Oculus only has 1 more left, and a C4 will be tossed out by Panicky. It'll land right on the feet of Tricky, and now we're in that 1v3, which is almost unwinnable on the side for Kusik. But luckily, time and time again on Villa, he's been out-fragging most of the players on the last resort, and he has plenty of time to just work his way in passively into sight and just try to pick on his opponents one-on-one. But Courage with the wide swing near the doorway of Master will shut him down, and another round win comes out favoring the last resort in an absolute barn burner of a show. 4-4 going into round number 9.
We are all squared up, and this map is so damn close. 4-on-4, as I've just said. Excuse me, I'm absolutely stumbling over my words right now. I'm at a loss of words for what we are seeing. RCTIC, what a push, but TLR just knew what to do at that point. They got the first couple opening kills, and I think it was the Nomad of, at the time, Kusik, that got 2 refrags in, but it was just too little too late. At that point, it was a 2v3. And that C4, oh my, that was a beautiful C4 from the Valkyrie. Getting that kill onto Zofia, and a 1v3 situation very much unwinnable for RCTIC.
I was going to mention that the utility usage by the last resort was a little too quick on the draw, but sometimes it works out, and that was definitely a great example of that, because the Toxic Babe, it forced Panicky to play really far back, or not, sorry, Panicky, but the opponent of Panicky with that Nitro Cell. It allowed for Panicky to go for a great toss and it was almost a free kill essentially. It did sacrifice a lot of utility, but it didn't really matter as it was eventually a 1v3 all up to Kusik, which even then, very difficult to win those kind of situations. And now we're heading back into Aviator and Games Room instead of heading down below in towards Kitchen and Dining, but it's not really that big of a deal. Eventually you'll probably see that site be played, and it's the exact same defensive lineup for the last resort. It makes you want to bat an eye just a little bit, but they're most definitely aware of their past round mistakes. They could definitely recover from any type of blunders early on if it even comes down to that. Maybe they'll find the entry frag and basically just play keep away against Team RCTIC on the attacking side.
Half a minute has passed now as RCTIC has taken yet again firm control of the opposite side of the map, at least the top floor of it. And they've taken swift control of it too. The IQ of Monks is going to see if they can spot any of those Valkyrie cams that K5 probably has just placed around the map. And the C4 coming in from Panicky, but that's way too early and way too short. Nothing is going to be hit by that. Maybe some team damage, team gadgets actually at that point, but let's hope nothing of that has happened. Kusik though knows of the player playing on red stairs. He's getting live pings, and he knows that when that person decides to swing, he's going to get a free kill right there holding the angle. But none of that just yet. 1 minute 45 remaining, and RCTIC, they've kind of slowed down a bit here.
They're taking their time, but they have plenty of it to spare. I don't blame them. They're waiting to make sure they can guarantee this kill on the Hazard, because if that's the case, this could allow them to open up so many different avenues of approach. But right now, they haven't been able to confirm this frag onto Hazard because you have players like Panicky that were able to slow down that push just for a moment longer. Concussive blasts come out, but we still have Hazard just sitting there like a boulder, and K5 picks up one onto Monks. A refrag will pursue, but K5 getting another one for himself. A 2K for the Valkyrie player as the man advantage remains in the hands of Last Resort. Luckily though, RCTIC still has now this landing control against the Last Resort, but there's still plenty of utility on the defensive squad that can deny a possible plant, let alone a push coming into play. And K5 is on a heater of a round. He picks up a third for himself from underneath on the deep roam, and now RCTIC's attack is just falling apart at the seams. It's all up to Tricky and NW, some of the best weapons and players on the side of Team RCTIC, but they just might not have what it takes in this specific scenario.
25 seconds remain, and it's ticking down. For RCTIC, it's going to be perceived as really, really fast. The first smoke canister is going to be coming out from Oculus, preventing Tricky from being able to pushing into the site without loss of HP. 10 seconds now as we are closing in on the 000. The shotgun kill coming out from Panicky, and this SMG 12 kill from Courage. And that's all she wrote for this round. 5-4 now for TLR on AVG. They have learned from their past mistakes.
Still a game of tug of war, though. It's back and forth between these two players, or teams, I should generalize more, not specify. But still, eventually someone's got to give leeway to that rope and fall over in the mud. We just don't know who it's going to be on Villa at the current moment. We do see TLR gain a slight lead, but we've already seen that be lost by them as well, so still a complete coin toss as of right now. It could really come down to either side. Dining Room, though, and Kitchen will now be on the defensive lineup as they can't go either secondary floor objective rooms. They're going to have to opt for the first floor one instead. And a really strong lineup as well, might I add. A lot of C4s to work with, 3 in count unless Malusi or Valkyrie brings impact grenades instead, which will not be the case. And there's still plenty of operators like Courage or K5 that can go on a deep and extensive roam and just, in general, waste time against RCTIC and force them to play out of their comfort zone on this push coming into Kitchen and Dining. And that could also be Hazard as well, because that most likely will be his job as he is on the Jaeger and already up above.
Yeah, at a roam game from Hazard, and I think some other players, I hope to see another one, like at least 2 players playing upstairs, but we'll see how that's all going to happen in just a bit, as they're still setting up right now, and they need time to reinforce the walls, put down their utility, so we'll give them time to do that, and then we'll see the final real layout of this round. Panicky has joined upstairs together with Courage, as he is now, sorry, not as Hazard, sorry. as they are now both upstairs and waiting for the attackers to come into bedroom. The drone's flying out as NW and VIP are going to be staying behind to drone their teammates in. Monks with a very quick rappel up in is going to use his Valkyrie, scanner to scan some Valkyrie cams and hopefully destroy them. So TLR won't be able to get that information, because there's definitely one up there. At least I'd hope so for the side of TLR.
Absolutely there is, and RCTIC beginning to work their way inside the actual map. They have bathroom control. They're going to begin to work their way in towards Astro, and what a devastating angle by Oculus. That's a nice little peek there with the Mossberg shotgun, and the C4 could be a little more effective in this position. It'll do just that, shutting down Kusik. Tricky will get the refrag, but again, the damage already being done on the side of RCTIC, as that's your main fragger gone, and one of your only soft destructors for this vertical play. But luckily Tricky has brought the breaching charges instead of a claymore, so that can pick up the pace a little bit for RCTIC. There's still one huge problem though, and that's Panicky up above. He'll find one for himself with that Mossberg shotgun, and now he repositions his way in towards Astronomy. If he finds another one onto Tragic, this could all be over in a matter of seconds. But hold on a second, Rage Vibe is in the middle of sight. He's trying to find another one for himself. He'll get eliminated though by K5. A swift headshot to the head, and another frag comes out as well instantaneously. Courage though will not let it get away unscathed nor unchallenged, and it'll be another round win in the favor of TLR as they bring us closer, or if not, they have already brought us to match point.
It is definitely match point for TLR, and it's not just match point, it's series point as well. RCTIC are going to need to feel the pressure now. They must be feeling it. They need to win the next 2 rounds. They want to stay in ECS playoffs and the finals, actually. This is the quarterfinals, and TLR needs to win this round to seal the deal and get this win and take it home. But this last round was exhilarating. Oh my, the C4 at the beginning, that was an amazing angle. And the retake coming in from the Malusi of Courage, the double kill onto the ace, and after that, I think it was the sledge at the end there. No, not the sledge. Another player at the end there near the entrance of Laundry. Absolutely amazing round TLR had there, but not to say that RCTIC are out of the game. They're definitely not that just yet. They still have 2 more chances to. They have 2 more chances to win this. Excuse me. No, I need to rephrase this. Yeah. Let's start that over again. RCTIC have 2 more rounds to play. They need to win both of those rounds if they want to stay in this and push it into overtime. And that's gonna start us off at square one with another best of 3. We're gonna have 3 rounds at max, and then we'll see who will win of that. But RCTIC need to get 2 flawless attacks, 2 flawless rounds if they want to win this, or at least stay in it.
Exactly. The last resort, they only need 1 more round win, and then it's over. They've already taken map number 1, not with relative ease, but they did eventually overpower RCTIC on their assertiveness, winning out the first match on Oregon 7-5. And RCTIC, again, they're going to go for a roam clear once more. It's kind of been a toss-up for them, though, as they haven't really proven to be better against the last resort when it comes to either side. And oh no, is that my internet dying? It is not my internet dying. Thank God. I almost had a panic attack there, but now my screen has ended up freezing. Is it the same for you?
Yep, at 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the match point round. I'm just looking at this. So we are going to see now how this round is going to end, but I think we just had word. Do you wanna enlighten our viewers, fella?
Well,
oh, no, we're on standby now.
Yeah, we're on standby.
Nope.
All right.
Well,
thank you very much, but we're back, and sad news. The game has actually ended, and we weren't able to catch the last round, so that's very unfortunate. I'm sorry. All right, well, we're not going to talk about it. I'm sorry. I spoiled the movie, much like Tom Holland does almost all the time. I guess I am the Spider-Man from Brooklyn. I apologize. But We're gonna stall for a little while longer. Yannick, you mind just handing it over? Mind just taking it away for a little while?
Yeah. I'll take it away from here.
Yeah.
TLR and RCTIC on Villa. RCTIC, and let's recap the whole map so we can talk about that. RCTIC with a shaky start on the defense on the first 2 rounds, losing it very, very quickly to TLR. But they battled back, winning at least 1 back, and after that, bringing it back to a 3-3 split. But now on their attack, they're doing quite the same that TLR are doing. They're winning their rounds, at least they've won 1, and that has put, sadly for RCTIC at least, TLR in a match point position. But RCTIC are not out of the game just yet. They have 2 rounds to win, and we'll see how that's going to go just right now. Do you have anything that you could see? Do you have anything you could talk about, like maybe RCTIC was doing wrong in the first half, their defensive half?
Not bringing the right setup. They were relying heavily on their mechanical skill. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of teams that do that and do it quite well, and it works out for them a lot of times. But don't always rely on one thing and one thing always, or one thing only, sorry. Always have a backup plan. If you don't have a backup plan and your first plan goes south, you're not going to be able to really do anything. That's kind of a lost round almost immediately. And that's what we saw by RCTIC. They just tried going for the kills, and if it didn't work, they would just lose. They couldn't convert it back. And we're going to be sending on back just for the game I believe to be. And we're back. It's as if nothing happened. I don't have to stall anymore. You don't have to hear my ugly voice.
We're looking at a replay. Insane. Well, the period's coming out from K5 just like last round. And we're back at where we left off. Hazard looking at the chair in study. He gets 1, he gets 2! What a shot! What a shot to get back! And he gets 4! Starts to be 3! Oh my, Hazard, what are you doing? You're winning this round for TLR on his own, a 5v2 now, and RCTIC must be feeling really, really bad right now. Oh my, what a situation to be in. NW and VIP have their whole series riding on their shoulders right now. 2 minutes remaining, and what a play from Hazard.
And what a devastating blow as well. Both players not even next to one another. They cannot attack from the exact same angle. I think this might be over. I don't really know what to say about here, Mr. Tinderman, because this is looking so poor. Luckily, Vipe will pick up a refrag onto Hazard, the biggest issue on the board right now, on the side of the last resort, but they have to find 4 more kills and not lose a single soul if they want to win this round and keep themselves alive on map number 2. If that doesn't happen, then they're going to lose and have no more chances of redeeming themselves. They'll be relegated out of this series and just completely gone from ECS until we head into a new season. They have about a minute to work with, which is just enough time, but do they have enough manpower in compensation? That is the real question that we're going to be finding out.
I think what we're going to have to see now from VIP and NW is their gun skills. They're going to need to take on the gunfights and win them. Do they want to send this over to round number 11? But none of that just yet. We are going to see Panicky gunning the gunfight into VIP, but Courage gets one to NW, and it's all up to VIP now. The Nomad in a 1v4, and Panicky swings around, and that's the game. TLR take it 7-4 and take the series 2-0.
They didn't want to bring it into a barn burner. Very thankful for that, even though we can no longer see Consulate. But a great win regardless by TLR. 2-0 victory, not bringing us to a third map. Very unfortunate, but still phenomenal work by them. They really seemed like they picked up the pace. They turned from a jog to a full-fledged sprint in that 100-meter dash and just kept running. They didn't stop the entire time. They took the gold medal, and now they move into the semifinals, all between Lions Creed, one of the most difficult teams to go up against because of how strong they've been so far from what I've heard from ear to ear.
Indeed, it's going to be the match of the ages against Lions Creed, and that's just the semi-finals. But sadly, RCTIC, we're not going to see any more of them this season. They're going to be relegated down and out of the series, as you have said, out of this league for now. Oh my, though. TLR with the 2-0 series win. The first map was close, and the second map was not so close, but still a very, very good two maps to watch and cast.
Yeah, I had a pleasure doing it with you. That was a lot better considering all things. I literally came home from class and then just hopped right in my computer to commentate. My throat's killing me. I'm going to have to drink like 2 gallons of water to recover, but you know, it was still fun. It was worth it in the end. I might not be able to talk coherently tomorrow, but you know what? Who cares, right? At least I'm not casting that day. But I think that's pretty much wrapped it up for at least myself. Hopefully you as well, Yannick. Do you have any final words before we head out?
Nope. I mean, that's about it. It's been a pleasure casting. Been a pleasure casting with you as well. It's the first time for you on ECS. Hope to see you back very, very soon, especially in the new season. I'm definitely going to see you back. So that's it for me. I'm going to send it off right now. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow we are going to have another game between that is going to be, let me just check real quick on the schedule. That's going to be Skittle.jpg versus Paragon tomorrow, 19:30 or 7:30 p.m. Central European Time on this very Twitch channel, and it's going to be me with somebody else. But we'll see. That's going to be all for tomorrow, and that's all going to be all for today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.